Hi everyone, thank you for being here. Yes, I come from Palestine, also known as Israel, the Zionist race state, the Zionist project in Palestine. And the first message to you is to simply say, because I know that some people are demanding to stand up to racism, let's say it very clearly, Zionism is racism. Zionism is much more than simply a form of racism. The Zionist race state is based on the principles of racial supremacy, white supremacy, ultranationalism, and fascism. And this is what we are standing up against. Unfortunately, there's no surprise that the consequences of a race state that is built for one and only one people at the expense of all the others, especially if they are the indigenous people to that land, the consequences of that would be either ethnic cleansing or genocide. So what is happening in Gaza did not start on the 7th of October. It also did not start with a criminal and barbaric siege 20 years ago. It did not start with a minor occupation of 67. It started with the very foundation of that Zionist race state on top of Palestine at the expense of the indigenous Palestinian people. Gaza was carved out as a refugee camp to house the unwanted, the surplus human beings that were ethnically cleansed in 1948. It was maintained as a concentration camp, and as we see, it has recently been transformed into an extermination camp. The things that we see today in this live stream genocide remind me very much of the stories that I heard from my grandparents who had to go through Auschwitz and Dachau and other concentration camps. So Zionism is racism, as simple as that. The whole concept of establishing a race state, a state for one and only one people, by denying the rights, by driving away the indigenous people, that is something that has to be opposed. It must be opposed by all of us, regardless of our race, gender, religion, etc. Whenever an Israeli representative tells you or tells the media that if you are opposed to that Zionist race state, you must be somehow anti-Semitic, what they are actually saying, the very logic of that statement, it necessarily says that if you are Jewish, you must be, because of your Jewishness, because of my Jewishness, whatever that means, I must be, because of that, supportive of that criminal, apartheid, racist, genocidal, monstrous, barbaric state. That is the greatest form of racism, saying that all Jews, because of their Jewishness, are necessarily genocidal maniacs. It is exactly like saying that all Muslims are terrorists. We have to oppose any and all conflation between criminal supremacist Zionism and Judaism, just as we oppose any and all form of racism. When we talk about Gaza, when we talk about the unbearable toll, the carnage, the unimaginable things that we are seeing in the media and the things that haven't even reached the media, we have to remember that the Zionists are now talking about bringing back their hostages, the 130 Israelis who are kept hostage in Gaza. And they have utilized that slogan of bring them home. I would say, bring them home. Bring home the 2.3 million hostages in Gaza. Bring home the 2.3 million hostages and the 7.5 million who are in forced exile. Bring them all home. This is the message that should be echoed from Gaza around the world. Bring them all home. Bring and build a place that respects, build a home that respects the rights of all 21 million sons and daughters of the land. And I take the liberty to include myself in that, those who are currently the privileged Israeli Jews, the 7 million of us, but most importantly, the rights of all the others, the 14 million who are currently subjugated, at best, subjugated, oppressed, dominated, and terrorized. So we have to build a place for all 21 million, the 7 million privileged at the moment, who will become equal in rights to the other 14 million. Bring them all home. This message is regarded as racism by some. And this type of racism is actually the most humane, the most benevolent message that we can echo. Bring them all home, build a place that respects the rights of all the people of that land, demand the rights of all 40 million Palestinians to be equal human beings with full rights, just as the rights as that I have. Thank you.